Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created
equal
to the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Court considers that in conformity with its obligations under the Genocide Convention, Israel must immediately halt its military offensive and any other action in the Rafah governorate which may inflict on the Palestinian group in Gaza conditions of life that could bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part.
Whoa. Okay, so that was the ICJ. That is the same court that told Russia, stop messing around in Ukraine. So if Netanyahu reacts the same way as Putin did to this court's lack of enforcement ability on orders to stop and, stop attacking, the countries that they are ordered to stop attacking, then we all know that Israel will now attack Kharkiv or something. I mean, here's the thing. So yesterday we found out that 3 more countries are recognizing, I see it now, a Palestinian state. They will do nothing. Absolutely not. They're not going to send peacekeepers. They're not going to send border guards. They're not going to send, aid or, drivers. They're not going to send Uber. They're not going to send DoorDash. They're not going to, do anything. But they all want to say, we recognize a Palestinian state, but they won't do anything to actually recognize a Palestinian state. So that's interesting. But and now you've got 2 courts, both attached to the United Nations. You have the ICC, which, obviously is pursuing arrest warrants for Netanyahu, for Yoav Gallant, his defense minister, and for the 3 main guys from Hamas, right? Saying that they all are war criminals, and they're presenting their case to a panel of judges who will then issue or not issue arrest warrants for the 3 Hamas guys and for the 2 people in charge of the Israeli side of this brutality, right? Does anybody think that that those warrants will be executed upon, and we see people, frog marched or handcuffed, or somehow they'll be forced to serve? No. But here is what could happen. Here's what I wish would happen. Here is what the world should make happen. But when you have protesters that aren't, like, when you walk up to the protesters and you say to the protesters, but what about the hostages? They go, what hostages? So that's the caliber of, But if somebody was really thinking about like a movement, if somebody was thinking like in terms of a long-term or even a short-term strategy or strategy at all, any strategy at all, it would be good here. They might actually say the entire world, the entire organization of the United Nations is comprised of 192 countries, 146 of them, recognize a Palestinian state. So we as the world are going to unite in solidarity to bring that about. And we are willing to commit this or that or that or this or over here or money or personnel or aid workers, or we're going to police the skies. We're going to make the skies safe in, Palestinian territory. We're going to make the skies safe in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Know what I am? Yeah. But that's not happening. So there you go. Move on. I mean, everybody was so breathless today. The ICJ has just... I understand that. It's and words have meaning, right? So the ICJ, the International Judiciary of Criminal, whatever, they all walked in this morning. All but one of them tripped and almost fell and broke his face. It was yes. I just say that so that it's like my proof of life video, right? I only say that so that I watched it. That's all, and I did. And it's really dull. It's really boring. But so they made this binding proclamation, but not enforceable. Binding. You need to stop doing stuff in Rafah. And they did not call, by the way, for a ceasefire. They did not. you would think that with all this time and effort that they put into, and of course, this has nothing to do with genocide, just so we can be clear here. And you can be right in all your conversations, okay? The idea that this court would find genocide in anything less than, I'm going to say 25 years is hysterical. You know Jack Smith, right? You know Jack Smith, the incredible prosecutor. He's a prosecutor over at the ICC. He's a prosecutor for war crimes and war criminals. Guess what he's been working on all these many years? Guess what he's been... Kosovo. When did that happen? Is that like the 90s or something? Yeah, these things take forever, to the point where we should put our best hopes and dreams into the idea that by the time the ICC or by the time the ICJ actually rules on whether or not there was a genocide, which there isn't, because, I hate to say it, but 35,000 people, which was cut in half by the same body, the same UN, same one. They said that the Hamas numbers needed to be halved, cut in half. So either you believe all the United Nations or part of the United Nations or just a sliver of or you pick and choose. It's up to you, really. I couldn't care less anymore, really, about, what people think, because they don't. They don't. People on this issue don't think. They truly have told themselves that social media has found a solution to an intractable problem that has plagued the world for thousands of years. But they know it because they saw it on TikTok, right? This is what you're dealing with here. But so here's the best hope. The best hope is that by the time the ICC or the ICJ actually concludes a thing about Israel, concludes anything at all, it's moot. Meaning Palestine is free. It's on its own. It's doing well. It's, Jared invested. He's running hotels there, whatever. And that the entire ruling of these bodies doesn't matter. The other thing you can root for, and this is what I would be rooting for, in all honesty, in all sincerity, is that because 146 nations who are parties to the United Nations all say that Palestine has a right to exist and it should be a separate state, and that Netanyahu is doing everything he can to prevent that from happening, including the United States, that we would all join together. Yes, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. I would. That's the song I sing. But the other thing you could hope for is that these countries will insist that the Security Council, which includes Russia and China, I mean, can you imagine Russia saying, yes, we're war criminals and voting on a resolution? No. So, but when it comes to, Israel, maybe they would all in the United Nations Security Council vote on a resolution to have a ceasefire over there, and the United States wouldn't veto it. That would be the best case scenario. That would be, a beautiful thing. It won't happen, but that. All right. So Trump had a rally. It's Memorial Day, everybody. If it wasn't for the wars, we would have nothing to memorialize. We would not have Monday off. So good point, right? Sick point, but good one.
Way to shine up that turd, Rand. I like it.
Yes, I have my polishing cloth out. Brett actually removed a stump today, like a really big stump with big, deep roots and everything. He's got calluses on his hands and all that.
I did.
You are a manly
manual
man.
labor.
Yes,
today.
you are a manly
impressed
man.
my fiance's family. They were
Yeah.
very impressed. It was worth it.
It's like my big fat Greek wedding is occurring over there in Brett's world. He's looking
We
at
had aunts and uncles and all sorts of family member buzzing around. And
they made you go to Catholic school. They did it all.
I have 2 classes coming up.
It is. It's just like my big fat Greek
It's a
wedding.
thing.
He's
It's a thing.
marrying into a completely practicing Catholic family. It's huge. It's Italian, and they're making him, actually convert, even though he is Catholic, but it's not the right kind. So you're going to end up like what's his face, the guy that gave the commencement address from Taylor Swift's Kansas City Chiefs.
Butker?
Yes,
I'm gonna have
Butt Kiss, whatever his name is.
another charming guy.
That was a weird speech. I also had to listen to that. It's very strange, I must say. But that's all about, his brand of Catholicism. Good thing you're not marrying into his family.
They're comfortable with me going through the motions.
Yes, but if you married into his version of Catholicism, then your lawyer wife-to-be would have to quit and just be a breeder. I mean, that's how... He says it's the vocation. He actually called his wife's stay-at-home motherhood a vocation, and thank God, and he wept. He openly cried that she leans into her vocation. Oh, wow.
Clear for takeoff. All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go
for launch. Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Okay, buy a stinking podcast. It's Friday, you bastards.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you very much. This is some turnout.
Presidential candidate Donald Trump came to the South Bronx today to speak to some supporters and to a fair amount of empty space in Crotona Park. He was as bellicose as you'd expect.
Our black population and our Hispanic population who are losing their jobs, losing their housing, losing everything they can lose.
But Trump is a billionaire, and the South Bronx doesn't house any billionaires. Politically, Trump shouldn't get his hopes up.
If you did a poll about who's more popular, Donald Trump or lead paint, I suspect lead is more popular than Donald Trump in the Bronx.
And yet, look at that crowd. There are a lot of red hats in there.
They're all from out of state. Go out there and look at all them cars that are parked and check them where they came from. Tennessee, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Texas.
Well, maybe not all. This young man is from Queens. You ever been to the Bronx before? Yeah!
I've been to the Bronx once.
Now,
this is my first time coming here.
But like a lot of others, he supports Trump.
He's a great person. He does care for all the American people, for the country.
He saved the country. We were in great shape. Now we're in terrible shape.
There were a few tense moments as the two sides shared space in the park, but most were tolerant of one another, if dismissive.
I'm not surprised that ignorance is here. And I choose to not be ignorant because I read books.
yay. The Bronx. Yeah, I just, I don't even know. I guess he doesn't want to go far from home is what it is. He doesn't want to leave, the area of the court because he's only going to have to come back. I mean, the guy has his own plane. He can go anywhere. Why isn't he in a swing state? Why isn't he in Pennsylvania? Why are the deadheads or the cult members, okay, why are they forced to go to the South Bronx to see their dear leader? And, that is what that was last night. Those were people who came in from Texas. Those are people who go to every single solitary Trump rally. These are, deadheads. These are fish fans. These are, Heaven's Gate people. These are the people that would have gone, to Guyana with Jim Jones and never come back. That's who these people are. And the only reason why they do it, tell you the truth, is because they know if they don't show up, the whole place is empty. And that can't happen. He has to be able to say there's a big crowd and do a tight shot of like 5 people, all in a row, go back and forth and back. Really, I mean, so he had a rally in the Bronx. On the good side of that, I could say, okay, that takes some nads, let's say, but not really if you know that you're stocking, the crowd with your own people who are coming in from out of town, who are coming from Texas, coming from Virginia, coming from Pennsylvania, coming from Tennessee, coming from New Jersey, whatever. If you know that they're going to, then it's not really that big of a, hey, let me try this. Let me see if I can stand on a soapbox in a beautiful park in the Bronx and make black people love me and Hispanic people love me, because that's what he was trying to do. But remember that they're standing in the shadow of his, his apartment buildings where he wouldn't rent to blacks, So, the memories. It's a beautiful thing. But the funniest part about him holding a rally in the South Bronx is that, all these deadheads travel to these rallies, and some of them were probably afraid to go to this one. Oh, not the South Bronx. I saw a movie once where it was all on fire. But here's the thing. This was one of the most ridiculous speeches he's ever given. It's like he didn't even try, okay? And first of all, I have to tell anybody who is a person of color who is supporting him, do you even know what the Supreme Court did yesterday? Do you even know? Do you even know how Donald Trump feels about people voting? Do you even know? Do you even know how Donald Trump feels about women, minorities? Do you even know? All right. So yesterday, just before we go ahead and go through this cluster F of a so-called rally that he had in the Bronx, I want you to understand that the Supreme Court weighed in yesterday, 6-3 decision yesterday, on a case called Alexander versus South Carolina. Okay, the South Carolina NAACP. Yes, Alexander versus the South Carolina NAACP. And guess who was on the losing end of that? That's right. It would be the NAACP of South Carolina. And what were they in court trying to achieve? They were trying to achieve this. And we went through it briefly yesterday, but I needed to read the opinion, okay? And the dissents. A 6-3 decision that said, and it wasn't enough for Clarence. Clarence had to write his own separate opinion, concurring, but his own separate opinion about why this didn't even go far enough, okay? How far he wants to go to overturn things that the NAACP would spit out a spleen to get for minorities in this country, okay? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. Okay. They gutted a whole bunch of precedent yesterday. A whole bunch. Why we don't cover this in regular news, I have no earthly idea. I do not get it. I honestly don't. But yesterday, the conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court told the conservative supermajority in South Carolina that drawing maps based on race is fine. Drawing maps based on party is fine. And that when the when the legislature in South Carolina literally did this thing, okay, they took 30,000 African Americans in South Carolina and sprinkled them all around South Carolina voting districts, sprinkled them into like 5 over here and 3 over there and 4 over there, so that they would dilute their power in a district that they were starting to show Democratic preferences. In a district that was starting to look like a Democrat could win. That district was Nancy Mace's district, and she was having none of that. So they decided that they would sprinkle 30,000 African-American voters, take them out of this district, and sprinkle them around other districts. And the 6-3 Supreme Court decision said that's fine. It's fine. And in fact, it didn't go far enough for Clarence. This is the problem, okay, with Byron Donalds, who's a person of color. This is a problem with Royce White, who is a person of color, running for the Senate in Minnesota. It says that Trump, Mary, I played you a clip of him the other day. Let me refresh. He said that if Donald Trump went on stage, pulled down his pants and took a crap, they'd be fine with him. There's nothing Donald Trump could do, nothing at all. This guy, Clarence White, he was an NBA player, had some mental illness problems, became, like a cheerleader for mental illness coverage. People were like, that's a great thing to be for. And then all of a sudden started showing up on Alex Jones' show, repeatedly. And now he's, when he got the nomination to be the Republican Senate opposition to Amy Klobuchar, the entire delegation was filled with Alex Jones listeners and Alex Jones supporters and Alex Jones. And I don't know. Guy's way off the reservation. Well, same thing for a lot of the people that support. I mean, Herman Cain, he ended up dead from the COVID. Remember him? Yeah. Anyway, it didn't go far enough for Clarence Thomas. No, he had to write a separate opinion, solo. It was solo. No one should hear it, but solo. And got real radical on the Supreme Court, saying every precedent that weighed in on the side of black civil rights has got to be gutted. All the way back to Brown versus Board of Education. All the way.
Oh! Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. So, because Donald Trump says all this racist crap all the time, I was wondering, what will his pitch be to these, African-American people and Hispanic people that live in the Bronx, when he's clearly saying he wants to deport 11 million Hispanic people, 11 million people out of this country, and put them in camps. And he won't. He wouldn't rent to black people. He still believes that the Central Park Five are guilty. Every single black person that is around him is a psycho. Every single one of them. They have to lick his boots. They have to pretend that they can't see reality in order to remain faithful to him. Right? Like Byron Donalds. I mean, Abby Phillips handed Byron Donalds his ass on national TV last night. It was magnificent. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. We'll get there. But and you won't even believe it. You just won't believe. She just She was asking him, like, will you accept the results of a free and fair election? You know, everybody's being asked this question, and they won't answer it. They just won't. And Ted Cruz wouldn't answer it. It's an amazing thing. But Abby Phillips asked Byron Donalds, who is a congressman from Florida, originally from Brooklyn, okay, like me, and she asked him, you know, about the DOJ allegation. You heard that one, right? Where Donald Trump was posting on Truth Social, and Marjorie Taylor Greene spread it around the world from some strange lady's Twitter site yesterday that the Department of Justice was going to assassinate Donald Trump in the raid of Magaloco, which was by appointment. You understand that the lawyers for Donald Trump, everybody that was working at Magaloco, they all coordinated with the FBI so that Trump would not have to be there, etc. Right? So she's asking him, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that the FBI? Do you know how dangerous this is? Why are you trying to turn people against? Anyway, so I'll show it to you. It's an amazing interview. It's so freaking good. But last night I was wondering, like, what is he going to tell these people in the Bronx since he's so racist? You know, like, what is he going to? You'll never believe it. You wouldn't. It's like nothing you've ever seen before, ever. It's like he literally tried to scare black people who he used to, paint as big, buff, dangerous, evil-looking dudes, right? Really gangbangers and gang member. He actually had gang members there last night, but on the stage with him. On the stage with him. That's how low he went. But he decided he was going to blame, I swear to God, the Chinese. He decided Chinese men were all buffed up and physically fit and coming into, I swear to God, he just changed the race of his racist rant. Just literally like cut and paste a different race into the same exact ridiculously racist diatribe. This time he made it about Chinese people. Now, I guess if he was in Queens, you couldn't say Asians because Queens is all Asian. I'm from there, okay? You can't say that. So I guess he would blame black people in Flushing, and then in the Bronx he blames Chinese people. It was mind-bending.
Large numbers of people are coming in from China. And if you look at these people, did you see them? They are physically fit. They're 19 to 25. Almost everyone is a male. And they look like fighting age. I think they're building an army. They had 29,000 people over the last... I think they're building... They want to get us from within. I think they're building an army. This is not... You know, it's interesting. Did you see them? They all have tents. They all have gas-fired stoves. I mean, this is not like an illegal immigrant. This is... They're building something. They have something in mind. We're going to end all of that stuff. They respected your president. They respected our country.
It was delusional. It was ugly. And, okay, so now he blames Chinese immigrants for whatever. I don't even know what he was blaming them for, but, oh, that's right. They're building an army. They're going to overthrow us from within, the Chinese 19-year-old buff guys.
With tents and gas stoves.
Yeah. And then he actually says how hot a guy he is. He comments on, that he's a pretty hot guy. No, I'm not kidding. I swear.
Large numbers of people are coming in from China.
Oh, no. Sorry. That's the racism. Yeah.
Sort of like a hot guy. I was hot as a pistol. I think I was hotter than I am now when I became president, okay? I don't know. I said to somebody, was I hotter before or hotter now? I don't know. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares, right?
What? How is he even being considered by any sane person in this here country to be the commander-in-chief? How is that a thing? How is that? Now, you know what's interesting? I did see some of the younger people there. Like you saw that kid that said he'd never been to the Bronx before. But he came to the Bronx to see Donald Trump because Donald Trump cares about all the people. Blow up. You got to understand that kid couldn't be more than 17, maybe 18 years old. Okay, do the math, everybody. The last time when Donald Trump was president, okay, when Donald Trump was running for president, when the Access Hollywood tape came out, let's just put it that way. You know how old that kid was? 12. They don't remember the Trump administration. They don't remember COVID. They don't remember being locked down. They don't remember the racism. They don't remember even the George Floyd. They don't remember any of it. This did not happen in their adult lives. Okay, this was stuff that happened when they were tweens, and they were very busy on TikTok, buying cologne from Cologne Guy, who has like 25 million followers. This kid, I'm not kidding. He's like a Sikh kid who loves cologne, and he literally spends thousands of dollars on cologne. So that's what the people that, the young people that went to this rally last night, this is all they know. They don't know and so some of them, they asked them, why are you considering this man? This man obviously is deranged. They said, well, we consider him to be more funny than anything else. So, we want him to be president because he's fun. He's funny. They don't remember anything about the Trump years. Nothing at all. Okay, so let's just downshift into who he invited on the stage. Okay, this should take your breath away, all right? You know that Donald Trump talks about carnage all the time. Carnage in the cities, carnage in the streets, and it's all, he always insinuates that it's coming from inner cities. It's coming from, the Chicago places, south side of Chicago. It's coming from the south side of the Bronx, which is where he was last night, and that's why he blamed Chinese men for, trying to take us over from within. So I was wondering, how does he do it? He just threw in with them. He invited 2 rappers, drill rappers, which is like the new gangster rap, right? He invited these 2 guys on the stage to be with him. They came up on the stage. One of them had a grill. He looked at this guy and said, oh, I really want to do my teeth like that. I really like that, right? And I was like, who are these guys? Okay, I'm not into drill rap. I have no idea who these young rappers are. I kind of left off at P. Diddy, okay? I'm just like, I'm out. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you what the media didn't do.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. Oh, hi, everybody. Okay, so this is who he had up on the stage last night, okay? It's a guy who calls himself Chef G and another guy who calls himself Sleepy Hallow. They have real names. Sleepy Hollow's name is Tegan Chambers, and Chef G's real name is Michael Williams. Why do I know that? I know that because their names are on an indictment including 140 counts, one of those being murder. And it's a live case, okay? They're out on bail. In fact, we read from the New York Times, the rapper Chef G paid cash for the group of 9 that he treated to dinner at a high-end Manhattan steakhouse in October of 2020. Prosecutors say the festive dinner was a reward for carrying out a shooting against a rival gang 2 days before that left 1 man dead and 5 others injured. Chef G, whose real name is Michael Williams, was celebrating the score, the Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said at a news conference Tuesday. One of Mr. Williams' musical collaborators, Tegan Chambers, known as Sleepy Hallow, was also there. Mr. Williams and Mr. Chambers, drill rappers who have garnered over 100 million views and streams on YouTube and Spotify, were among 32 people charged in a 140-count indictment announced during a news conference. Okay? The only reason why they were invited up, why? 100 million views, everybody. 100 million views. And he's in the Bronx. And he decides he's going to, Mr. Law and Order, Mr. We're going to stop American carnage, is going to cozy up to 2 rappers who are charged with murder and are out on $1.5 million bail. Swear.
Oh, I like that. I want to get that done.
Okay, he's looking at his grill, okay? Ooh, I like that.
One thing I want to say. One thing I want to say. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Make America great again.
Good Lord, man.
Thank you, fellas.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
very
me.
much.
Thank you very
That's
much.
where I like those teeth. I want to find out where you did. I got to get my teeth like that.
What's his rap name going to be once he gets this grill? Ice Hole? I honestly, really, I cannot believe he did that. I mean, I'm just like sickened by the idea that every single person in Trump's orbit that he invites on stage needs a pardon. What is that? What is that? This also, he could, you know what, get 5 people in the Bronx to vote for him that are African American or that like rap music. What was that? I mean, this is incredible to me. This is just amazing. This is the most disgusting I've ever seen him get. And he gets pretty damn disgusting, you know? I mean, we got to give him a rap name now. OG Orange Juice. Lil Hands. The Notorious P.I.G.
Mushroom tea.
Pit bullcrap. Except use the real word, right? Orange Face Killer. Nath T. Too bad Ludacris is taken because that one fits him to a T. I mean, I like Ice Hole. I think I'm going to settle with Ice Hole. I like that for his rep. Admiring a murderer's grill. I mean, just to pander, just to... And you know those guys showed up because they need pardons. They just do. Wouldn't you? I mean, if you were part of a 32 count, why is everybody he hangs out with somehow needing to be pardoned from, it's an amazing thing. But he's going to talk about American carnage and gangs and this and that. And all, I just, wow. I can't, I mean, I can understand why these guys did it. I can't. If he's the president, he can pardon them. I get that. But why is he doing this? Why are his sycophants okay with it? I'll tell you why. Because the media never told you anything about those two people, number one. Number two, none of the clips I saw, none of them, the one that I played to show you the drone video over the crowd so you could see how little and teeny and tiny it was. That's local. That was an ABC, local affiliate in New York. I know because I grew up watching, WABC in New York. It's Channel 7. But anyway, none of the reports, none of the media pointed out that these two guys that were on the stage with Donald Trump are gangbangers. They're guys who literally pay rival gangs as their protection. I swear to God, as their protection. They pay cash to gang members to protect them. It's like unbelievable. So this guy Williams, he's like 25 years old. He's from Flatbush, Brooklyn, but he has a mansion in Short Hills, New Jersey, right? He was doing time for gun possession, but his musical career was just taken off, right? And so he started getting cash and fame and record deals and all this stuff. And the prosecutors in this indictment say he started bankrolling 2 gangs, 8 Trey Crips and 9 Ways. Okay, go figure. I mean, they operated in several neighborhoods in Brooklyn. One of them is my old neighborhood in Brooklyn, in Canarsie, okay? Also in East Flatbush and Flatbush, right? And so they formed an alliance with this guy's, these guys who have 100 million views on YouTube. You could turn that into real cash. And so they started waging war against their mutual enemies, okay? And they started to bankroll gangs that, would go do the killing for them. Now, the authorities actually started an investigation after a shooting occurred in October of 2020, and the investigation grew to encompass a whole bunch of shootings. It's not just this one, okay? 12 shootings, 13 victims, one of whom died, 19 firearms were seized, and 24 of the defendants were in custody and being arraigned in Brooklyn Supreme Court, and they all face charges of second-degree murder, possession of a weapon, and assault. And Mr. Williams and Mr. Teagan over there, Chambers, they were all part of this group. They were all, and they're all looking at 25 years in prison. And that's who Trump put up on the stage last night. And the media didn't, nobody, I didn't see one single solitary report that said, oh, and by the way, he invited two guys who are charged with multiple murders to share the stage with him, Mr. American Carnage Must End, Mr. Blue Lives Matter.
I don't know what is the most insulting to the black voter in America. Is it the death-dealing rappers? Is it the gold sneakers? Or is it Tim Scott? Which one upsets black voters the most?
I would say Byron Donalds. Of all those, he is the most offensive,
yeah.
Okay? Because Byron Donalds, no matter what you show him, no matter what you tell him, no matter what you see, photographic evidence, the rap sheet, and he'll just say he doesn't see it. He can't comprehend. What are you talking about? I don't understand. He won't even answer your questions anymore. But these guys were serving prison sentences for criminal possessions of weapons. They literally got out of jail and then got involved in another murder. Where is the media? This is the question I have. I just why didn't anybody bother to report who Donald Trump shared a stage with last night? I mean, Herschel Walker, now this other guy, what's his name? Well, he could take a crap on the stage and I wouldn't care, the ex-NBA player. I mean, these are unique cases of, sycophants, but to not have a media report that this guy stood on the stage with murderers, people who have live cases, live indictments for murder, and said, good to see you. How do I get my teeth to look like that? Thanks for coming. We're in so much trouble. It's unbelievable to me that there's nothing, absolutely nothing being reported about this. And it wasn't just October of 2020. April 2021, a rival gang shot at Mr. Williams' mansion in Short Hills. He and his closest allies all live in this mansion. And the next day, the members of Mr. Williams' gang, shot at a member of the 8 Tray, who they believed had betrayed Mr. Williams by giving his address in New Jersey to rivals. They opened fire on a Flatbush sidewalk, striking 2 bystanders, a 53-year-old man and a 43-year-old woman instead. 2 months later, in June 21, 10 people were kidnapped in the same by the same gang member. They took this guy to a cemetery and they beat the crap out of him, and they only stopped when a person, a passerby, called the cops.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created
equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I got most of us got a solicitation email this morning from the former President of the United States saying that the Justice Department had authorization to kill him during the Mar-a-Lago raid. First, can you give us some clarification on that particular point that he's making and whether or not deadly force is authorized in other interventions, including the search of Mr. Biden's residence and office? And the second question is...
Can I do one at a time? Okay. On that one, that allegation is false, and it is extremely dangerous. The document that is being referred to in the allegation is the Justice Department standard policy limiting the use of force. As the FBI advises, it is part of the standard operations plan for searches, and in fact, it was even used in the consensual search of President Biden's home.
I mean, this is just crazy that the Attorney General of the United States has to answer to Donald Trump's fundraising, claims, his lies that Marjorie Taylor Greene spreads around the internets, and then Donald Trump picks up on it, puts it on his Truth Social site, and then fundraises off of it. Now, this is really dangerous because you know that this whole idea of stocking the government with Trump loyalists, who now we can see who they are, okay? You can see it's going to be people who need pardons or people that he can blackmail or people who he can threaten with, hey, man, if it wasn't for me, you'd be in Rikers right now. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it will be the worst of the worst, people that he could demand fealty from, absolute loyalty from, because without him, they would be up, the creek without a paddle. That's who he's going to staff our government with. And he also has this desire to move all of the agencies, every one of them, from the Food and Drug Administration to Homeland Security to the Department of Justice and the FBI, move them into the executive branch where he lords over them, where he is the ultimate boss, where he is the authority, and what he says they should be occupying their time with is what they will occupy their time with. So that if he says hands off of killer rappers or hands off of people that work in my administration, even though they've been indicted for weapons possession or crime or drugs or whatever, and go after Randi because she is somebody that calls me out every time I lie and tells her audience, don't believe him. I want her in jail. He wants to put the FCC into the executive branch so that he can decide who gets a license and who doesn't, who gets to broadcast and who doesn't. He's already said that, what he thinks is, fake media shouldn't exist. They're the enemy of the people, right? And he wants to go after journalists. He literally wants to do this. Now, the idea that he's making himself into the ultimate victim here, okay, the ultimate victim. Like, it's not bad enough that he is actually on trial. He really is. And that trial could actually cost him his freedom. It could actually take away his liberty. It's a criminal trial. And if he's found guilty, he can actually go to jail. Okay? That's not enough victimhood for him. He now has to be the object of the Department of Justice and marked for death by the FBI, by the Department of Justice, because he wants to dismantle it too. And it's dangerous because he's doing it by telling people that they are, a deep state operation and they're going after his life. Now, it's the sickest, most twisted thing. Byron Donalds, who was in the Bronx last night while he hosted these two killers. I mean, they're people who, at the very least, bankroll, pay hitmen, pay them to go shoot people that they don't like. He has them on stage. Okay. So when Byron Donalds, who was there last night, was asked, why are you perpetuating this lie that the Department of Justice, the FBI, targeted Donald Trump for death? Why are you doing that? Why are you saying that they wanted to assassinate Trump?
I want to ask you about another issue. Just recently, there was this issue of the search warrant for the search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago property. Yeah. And it authorized the use of deadly force for the FBI agents, standard boilerplate language. But you and others have described it as an assassination attempt on the former president. That's just not true. Why would you say something like that?
Well, first of all, my view of it is very simple. You have the FBI going in to do this raid on Mar-a-Lago. This is not like any other raid that they would do. FBI agents who did that raid did not want to do it. They didn't think it was necessary. And this is all politically motivated at the end because Merrick Garland wanted that to happen. Merrick Garland wanted the scenes, which your network did cover, of going into Mar-a-Lago.
Congressman, with all due respect, the language for the search is standard operating procedure for every operation of that kind that the FBI does. They did the same thing when they searched Joe Biden's house.
Yes, but I would say
so how is that weaponizing? Well, what I would say
when they searched
Joe Biden weaponizing
when
the
they
DOJ
searched Joe Biden's house, there weren't all the networks, from my recollection, with helicopters flying over the beach house in Rehoboth Beach, going to find the classified documents in his garage that he took when he was the vice president and when he was the United States senator, which, by the way, is a violation of the Espionage Act.
Congressman, I'm talking about
They didn't do that.
I'm talking about
this
conspiracy theory.
They didn't politicize it.
Congressman, I'm talking about the conspiracy theory that the FBI FBI was trying to assassinate Trump.
Well, let's talk
Would you
about-
acknowledge that that is not true?
Well, let's talk about what's fact. Let's talk about what's
Just a real
fact.
simple question.
What's fact
is it true or false that the FBI was
Abby,
trying to assassinate Trump?
What's fact
that
is
language?
that Joe Biden violated the Espionage Act. He did it with impunity.
I just want to know.
Robert Hur is not prosecuting him.
Congressman, I just want to know that you are not responding to a very simple question about a conspiracy theory that you voiced.
What conspiracy theory?
That the FBI, by having on a document that they are authorized to use deadly force, was trying to harm or assassinate former President Trump. That is false. Will you acknowledge that?
Can I be very clear with you?
Sure.
I'm not sure what Merrick Garland is trying to do these days.
So the answer
because
is
it is
no.
clear that the
You
Department
won't
of Justice
acknowledge
is being
that's not
weaponized
true.
against Donald Trump. That is clear.
That's pretty extraordinary.
That they're weaponized against Donald Trump. That's not extraordinary. That's what's happening right now.
It's pretty extraordinary that when faced with really clear facts, very clear facts, it's pretty much black and white, you won't acknowledge it. I'm trying to understand why.
We're all trying to understand why. We're all trying to understand what's in it for you, pal. We're all trying to understand how you can stand by a president who literally has a Supreme Court that says that Brown versus Board of Education, the 1954 decision that said separate is not equal, okay? The 1954 decision holding that racial segregation in public education violates the Equal Protection Clause under the 14th Amendment. That is his Supreme Court, okay? He's very proud of his 6-3 Supreme Court. He claims victory that he has this Supreme Court that ruled that way. And you, Byron, are perpetuating a false conspiracy theory that no matter what evidence is shown to you, that there was zero intention, zero desire, zero ability, to assassinate. He wasn't even there because it was a negotiated raid. It wasn't even a raid. It was the Donald Trump obstructed the return of these documents for a year. A year everybody waited, okay? First he said he didn't have them. He didn't have them. Then he said, and if you find them, it's because they were planted by the FBI. Planted. Then videotape became available, and it showed not only the boxes being taken off of Donald Trump's airplane and being brought to Magalocco with Walter Nada clearly in the picture and this other guy, Oliveira, in the pictures, okay, actually identifiable. But then there were photos of them, those documents in your bedroom, those documents in the bathroom, those documents on stage at a public golf club that you charge people to belong to. Then you said, that's because they're mine. And when the government said under the Presidential Records Act, they're really the people's, they belong in the archives, give them back, he said, no. So they went and got them.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
It's a simple question of whether the raid was carried out in a way that was standard operating procedure for the FBI. And as I'm sure you know, the Republican Party calls themselves a party of law and order.
Yes, of
the
course.
FBI, as law enforcement officers, they go and they execute search warrants every day under the threat of violence. And they have to have that language every single time to protect themselves. In this case, though, they coordinated with the president's lawyers. They coordinated with the Secret Service. Why would you insinuate that that was some kind of attempt at former President Trump's life?
Abby, I'm not making any insinuation.
I mean, it's very simple to just say that's not true.
The only thing I'm saying is that what we have witnessed is an uneven application of the law by the Department of Justice. You had Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton violated the Espionage Act. There were no charges.
You're changing
Joe Biden
the subject.
No, because the purpose of the warrant is because of classified material, is it not?
I'm not talking about
But you have
the
an
purpose
unequal
of the warrant.
application of the law.
I'm talking about
you have a two-tier system of justice that you don't want to actually acknowledge.
When you tell your supporters and the former president's supporters that there was a government attempt on the former president's life, and that is not true. That is a major insinuation, and it deserves to be walked back. It deserves to be walked back.
I would argue right now, if you look at the actions of Jack Smith and Merrick Garland, there is an attempt to incarcerate Donald Trump over foolishness because they cannot win a political election.
Oh, my God. You're insane. This man stole documents. They gave him a year to return them. He said he didn't have them. Then he said if he did have them, it was because the FBI planted them there. Then videotape became widely, known about. A little look-see at that video clearly showed that they were removing documents from the White House, putting it on the Trump plane, taking it off the plane, and putting it in Magaloco in the bathroom and on the stage. And then they waited a whole year, negotiated back and forth with Donald Trump, talked to him, give us the documents back. They don't belong to you. Oh, yeah, no, they're mine. You can't have them. They don't belong to you, sir. They belong to the American people, the Presidential Records Act. They belong in the National Archives. I'm not giving them back. Okay, they waited, and then another year ago, and they finally said, all right, we're calling your lawyers now, and we're going to call the Secret Service detail that is assigned to you, and we're going to coordinate with all these people the retrieval of those documents. That's what we're going to do. And that is what they did. How is that the same as Joe Biden saying to the FBI, oh, you think that I have documents that I took when I was a senator? Come and get them. Whatever I have, please come on in. Have a little look-see. Take whatever you want. That is what happened. The special prosecutor that was assigned to go dig up dirt on Joe Biden, right? Because Donald Trump didn't really care about digging up dirt on Joe Biden. He just needed an attempt to be made. Just like in Ukraine. We don't really need for you to find any dirt on Joe Biden. We just need you to say that you've opened up an investigation into Hunter and Joe Biden, right? That's all he needed, was for them to open up an investigation into Joe Biden. Well, the special prosecutor in that case, prosecutor Herr, actually said he couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Joe Biden had taken anything that was in violation of the Espionage Act, whereas Donald Trump not only obstructed the retrieval of documents that actually were covered under the Espionage Act, like war plans for Iran, etc., battle plans, attack plans, but also denied having them, then said if he has them, it's because you planted them, and then said, oh, yeah, I have them. They're mine. How is that the same to anybody? Anybody? How is that the same scenario under the law? I mean, it's just so, but she's not even asking him that. She's asking him, why are you continually saying, why do you continue to say, despite all evidence to the contrary, that Donald Trump was a target for assassination by the American government, by the American FBI, by the American DOJ? Well, I'm not really sure what Merrick Garland's doing. That's your answer? You can't be sure that the Attorney General of the United States didn't target Donald Trump, who has Secret Service protection, by the way, and coordinated going for the documents with that same Secret Service? It's something is so completely bizarre around Donald Trump that you have these people not only who will sit there and let the Supreme Court that Donald Trump picks say that it's perfectly okay to discriminate against black voters in South Carolina. Why, not only is it okay, but every single anti-discrimination law that the United States ever passed, a la the Voting Rights Act, a la Brown versus Board of Education, a la separate, we should go all the way back to 3/5 of a person and say that's where we should have stopped fixing things. Because that's what Clarence Thomas is saying. And they are all down with this. And I can't understand, how is it possible that your people, that your communities, that your district, that your election is being targeted by the Supreme Court? And you don't have anything to say about it except I love Donald Trump, and there's nothing he could do, nothing at all, that would make me not vote for him.
There's not a thing that could happen. Donald Trump could get up on stage, pull his pants down, take a up at the podium, and I still would never vote for you Democrats again.
What?
Let that sink in.
I'm trying to understand. It's bizarre. This whole thing is bizarre. And the idea that they're all wearing the same clothes now, okay? That Vivek Ramaswamy and Byron Donalds and Mike Johnson. Well, Mike Johnson, he sort of separated himself from the clothing choices, okay? But the rest of them, holy crap, they're all wearing blue suits, white shirts, and red ties. It is Heaven's Gate, right? It is. They're all emasculating themselves in public. They're all wearing the same clothes, and they'll all drink whatever Kool-Aid that is being served if the dear leader tells them to. What is that about? What is that about? Now, the media has an interest in this remaining a horse race. And so a lot of it is generated by, leaving out details, like of the Bronx rally last night. Just leaving it out, just so we can't tell people that because, then we'll get all bogged down in, having to explain why he's palling around with violent murderers. Why is he doing that? And maybe it would be like an Access Hollywood tape where, it's not good for... We need the horse race. At least until somebody convicts him of something, which better happen next week. It better freaking happen next week. Because I'm telling you, this country is being torn apart by people who are completely delusional. People who have problems bigger than I can solve, problems that I can't even explain, problems of self-loathing maybe. I don't know. And social media just feeds it and feeds it and feeds it. And now they're finding out, TikTok used to be just, people dancing and, maybe cooking. And now it's Trumpy. It's real Trumpy there. Like crazy.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Donald Trump is now trying to fundraise off a false accusation that suggests that President Biden authorized his assassination during a search of his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, nearly 2 years ago. The former president sent out an email yesterday to members on his mailing list with this subject line: Biden's DOJ was authorized to shoot me. Trump and his allies have pointed to a recently unsealed court filing which describes a policy statement outlining the standard operating procedure by which the FBI is authorized to use deadly force if deemed necessary during any situation when a search warrant is indeed executed. It was not unique to the FBI's search of his Mar-a-Lago property, and it's actually intended to limit the use of deadly force. Attorney General Merrick Garland yesterday called Trump's allegation extremely dangerous.
So I don't even understand why very few people are reporting that the retrieval of documents, which is what that was, the retrieval of documents that was executed at Magaloco happened with coordination from and between the U.S. Secret Service detail that protected Donald Trump, the staff at Magaloco, and the lawyers representing Donald Trump. They never, ever tell that to you. That, I think, is like the end of the conversation, if they would just say that, instead of saying, well, of course they have, the ability to use deadly force if you, shoot at them. Well, you do too. This is freaking Florida. We have a stand your ground law. My God, you could kill a kid if he's, carrying Skittles and you think it's a gun. You can do it. Ask George Zimmerman about it.
I told you what I think about Trump pushing this and MTG spreading it is I really do feel like they're trying to activate the most radical of their cult.
Of course they are.
And give them the green light to do something extremely violent.
Of course, that's why Merrick Garland and anybody who comments on it says this is really dangerous because they understand what this is about at its core. It is about using words like locked and loaded so that they will get the message that they need to be locked and loaded, that they're coming for you because they're coming for him. But they didn't come for him. They called ahead and negotiated with the lawyers a time and a place of Donald Trump's choosing that would be convenient for him. And did he want to be there or not? Did he want to, watch them go through his soily panties, or did he not? He said, no, I don't want to be there. He wasn't there because he negotiated not being there. This was not a surprise attack. This was a document retrieval because he constantly lied about top secret, classified, no foreign eyes, compartmentalized intelligence that he had in a bathroom at a public golf club. I honestly, I don't know what is wrong with people. And I don't know that I'll ever know. I don't know that we'll ever figure it out. I really don't. I mean, every once in a blue moon, I get like right up to it, and I go, oh, now I get. And then something else happens, and I go, wait a minute. So now you got black people that are okay with Clarence Thomas saying that every single thing we ever did to guarantee equal protection to all Americans under our law was decided in error. It was all a sad mistake. That was an activist court. I thought we all agreed that the worst decision the Supreme Court ever made was the Dred Scott decision. I thought we all said 3/5 of a person was the worst of the worst decisions that the Supreme Court has ever made. Judge Taney was the Chief Justice at that time. I mean, I thought no, we don't agree. Clarence Thomas thinks that was the right move and wrote it down. He said Brown. He's one of the detractors. This is how they characterize it in the newspapers today. Okay, the Brown decision, Brown versus Board, the 1954 decision guaranteeing all people equal protection under our law, under the 14th Amendment. Okay, had its detractors, and Clarence Thomas has long been one of them. He has written that the decision rested on a great flaw by focusing on Jim Crow inflicted decisions on school children, erroneously looking at the effect of Jim Crow on school children. He rejected the Board versus Brown's assertion that black children suffered constitutional harm because they were denied access to integrated education. He said that should never have happened, that black children were not being harmed by having segregated schools. This is really what he wrote. I mean, it's just, he said he condemned the court's ongoing efforts to remedy decades of segregation by integrating public schools by judicial decree, decrying integration efforts as predicated on black inferiority. Actually, it was predicated on tax rolls, okay, that blacks weren't allowed to compete in the marketplace. And so the tax rolls for the communities in which black children went to school, schools are supported by local taxes. And the local taxes weren't supporting the same quality of schools in the 50s as white communities were able to support. He said, that's just wrong. You're saying blacks are inferior. No, we're saying that the opportunities were so restricted, that the tax rolls were so low, that schools were inferior because the money wasn't there. That's what, I mean, he is just so disgusting. It was an inferior tax base. That's what it is. And he's like, I don't care. I want to go back to the 1700s. I'm not kidding. He wants to go back to the 1700s because he's an originalist. Yep. And that when the English common law courts, English law in the 1700s, he actually talks about the High Court of Chancery in England did not give anybody the ability to legislate integration. And so because America looked to the English law to write its own constitution, which was amended to include now a 14th Amendment, he says you can't honor the 14th Amendment because it wasn't around in English law in the 1700s. So therefore, it's an overreach. by Americans who believed that blacks are inferior and they needed this intervention from the courts. We don't believe blacks are inferior. We believe the law was inferior. We believe redlining was inferior. We believe that some of the ideas, around, let's say, slavery were inferior. And that the tax base in black communities was not equal to the tax base in white communities in 1954. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I don't even think we got one black actor on television until, Diane Carroll and Julia. What is wrong with this man? And Byron Donalds and, Royce White from Minnesota, Ben Carson, all these, Donald Trump black dudes, they're fine with this. Clarence Thomas, he's so self-loathing.
Fatality. This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Last segment. I have pool toys, everybody. I have pool toys. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, I ordered pool toys and, beer. I'm so happy. I'm so good right now. But, wow, what are we? And next week, check this out. Okay, so Monday is Memorial Day. We are off. Okay, I think that's standard. I don't think that's a big damn deal. But you need to support the show. You have to buy a stinker podcast just now, because the first of the month is coming, and we need it now, right now. So, RandiRhodes.com. But anyway, I want to show you what a normal president does. I want to show you what a real president does. I want to show you what a good president does. I want to show you what a decent president does. Okay, this was also yesterday. Didn't see very much about this either.
Overnight, a star-studded state dinner at the White House, and even a former president stopping by, with President Biden, the First Lady, and some 500 guests gathering to honor William Ruto, the president of Kenya, the first African nation granted a state visit since Ghana in 2008.
And Jill and I are honored to have you here and representing, including many members of the African diaspora. One just left, Barack.
Former President Obama, whose father was born in Kenya, was meeting with Ruto at the White House and made a surprise appearance at a reception, but left before the dinner. Among the VIPs, former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, actor Sean Penn, and country music star Brad Paisley performing his hits.
Oh, I can't play that. It's music. Music is outlawed on the YouTubes. Can't play the music. Anyway, that's what a normal president does. That's what a good president does. That's what a decent president does. He makes alliances with any country that is willing to help stay a democracy, be a democracy, serve democracy, And the reason why, and this is really, really key, the reason why Kenya was invited to a state dinner is because of two things that are occurring in the world. One of them is the complete destruction of Africa, by China moving in and Russia moving in. Why? Well, because there's lots of stuff still in Africa to be had. Why? There's lithium and copper and all. And Kenya has a desire to stay democratic. Kenya is, very committed to being an ally of the United States in order to protect itself from, countries like Russia that are complete autocratic oligarchies, or communist China. And they look to the United States, and the United States looks to them and says, okay, so we have something really horrible happening in our hemisphere. We have the assassination of a real president. I mean, you had a president in Haiti who was killed by gangs. Okay, the same people, the same kind of people, murderers, that Donald Trump hosted last night on stage with him. The gangs that killed Moisenel, I think that's how you pronounce his name, the president of Haiti, are now in control of Haiti. And the people there are helpless. And Biden understands that putting Americans' boots on the ground in Haiti isn't a good look for America. It's not something that would be welcomed in Haiti. It would be greeted with a lot of suspicion. And so he asked if President Ruto of Kenya would send a peacekeeping force or would somehow, figure out a way to go to Haiti and try and bring peace and stability to that island nation. And he agreed to do it. And the United States is going to, give him $300 million in the effort to stabilize Haiti, which is, right next door to me. Literally right next door to me. People come here from there by boat all the time. And I work in a Haitian neighborhood, and the people here are just like so freaked out about what is going on over there. I mean, some of them that I know have relatives there. Most of them don't. The people that I know anyway, they've been here for, a good 20, 25 years. Their kids are, born here. But they're like, they look at that place and they just shake their heads like, oh my God, nobody's ever going to help them. Nobody's ever going to, invest in Haiti, because not only is it unstable because of the government, which doesn't exist anymore, but it's unstable because of natural disasters. It's unstable there because Haiti has earthquakes, really bad ones. It also has hurricanes, really bad ones. And every time Haiti gets built, Haiti gets destroyed by Mother Nature. And if you have a president like Donald Trump who says, here's some paper towels, nothing ever gets fixed. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why Kenya and the United States bonded and had a state dinner last night. But that's what a normal president does. That's what a decent president does. That's what a caring president does. It's what a smart president does. Donald Trump, on the other hand, was with gang members in the South Bronx.
That's his
saying
brand.
that the Department of Justice wanted to assassinate him and fundraising off of that lie.
Criminality is his brand.
It is.
It is his brand. Period.
I know, and the reason why I think I've come to this place in my head to explain it to myself, because I need to be oriented in this world. I think the reason is because people that need pardons from him are very, very, very loyal to him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, where else are they going to go?
How is he going to manipulate and use people who don't break the law, have a moral compass, have respect for themselves? You can't use those people.
Right, and that's why they're not around him. That's why everybody around him, from Steve Bannon, who is helping these psychos, be loyal to Donald Trump. This Royce guy, he's been groomed by Alex Jones, Steve Bannon, this whole crowd, right? They go out and they find some of the most criminal people that they can. Roger Stone, he needed a pardon from Donald Trump. Steve Bannon himself needed a pardon from Donald Trump, and he needs another one. Navarro didn't get one. He's in jail. Weisselberg didn't get one. He's in jail. Do you know what I'm saying? And you go to jail for Michael Cohen. He went to jail, right? Because Donald Trump finds that useful too. I mean, he plays this criminal game so well that he makes examples of people who were loyal to him so that you'll be super, super loyal to him. I don't think there's one person from Michael Flynn to Steve Bannon to Roger Stone to these two gangsters that were on stage with him last night that don't need pardons, or that will go to jail if Donald Trump's not reelected. In fact, Donald Trump will go to jail if Donald Trump's not reelected. Benjamin Netanyahu will go to jail if Benjamin Netanyahu isn't the prime minister of Israel. It's just like a whole cabal of really bad people that do bad things. And people are very excited by these criminals. They're just, either they don't know that they're criminal, or they're excited by the fact that we might have, a Jimmy Conway as president of the United States, which is interesting because De Niro, who played Jimmy Conway, did a voiceover for an ad.
From midnight tweets to drinking bleach to tear-gassing citizens and staging a photo op, we knew Trump was out of control when he was president. Then he lost the 2020 election and snapped, desperately trying to hold on to power. Now he's running again, this time threatening to be a dictator, to terminate the Constitution.
If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Trump wants revenge, and he'll stop at nothing to get it.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Oh, I love it. I mean, a man who played some of the world's worst people said he could not play Donald Trump in any movie because there's no redeeming quality about Donald Trump that he could hook into. to make him sympathetic, to make him a good character that you would root for even though he's bad. This is a man who played Max Cady in Cape Fear. I mean, come on. This is one of the worst people on the in all of movie making. Max Cady has got to be one of the worst villains I've ever seen in my life.
And man, he got jacked for that role.
Oof. Just even, in the opening scenes, if you never saw the new Cape Fear, not the Robert Mitchum one, but the new one with De Niro, and what's his face, who plays the lawyer. You know who I'm talking about, right? Anyway, if you never saw it, you have to watch the opening scene, just because of the quality of acting that De Niro is capable of. Okay, his walk, just the flex of a muscle in his arm, you just know that's a bad person. You just know he's playing a very bad guy, and he doesn't say a word, not a word, but you just know.
And you were referring to Nick Nolte, who that might have been the performance of his career.
I mean, what's her face? Who was the mom?
Juliette Lewis was the daughter,
right?
And what's her name? It's escaping me. The mom. I'll get you.
You don't have an IMDb right in front of you? I just thought I saw you Google it.
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange.
I didn't know if it was on the Jessica Lange.
Oh, that oh my God. Anyway, we have to. I'm settling on Donald Trump's rap name. I want him to. We'll call it, I guess, Ice Hole. I like it. Little Dicky. Notorious P.I.G. is one of my favorites. Dirty Old Bastard was taken. That's why, I can't. Rapey Don. Tiny Hands. Little Johnson. Have a good one. Happy Memorial Day. It's not happy though.